Here. I've been watching a lot of mukbang. Salam friends! Welcome back. Today I have something very important to talk about. It's kind of a touchy subject just because I get emotional every time I talk about it. I've tried filming my convert story like 3 other times and I always ended up deleting it. A lot of past memories come up every time I try telling this story, and a couple of traumatic experiences as well. But halas, I think I'm ready finally to tell my story. So plenty of people ask me why I decided to convert to Islam. Friends, family, and complete strangers also. And I actually like sharing it for the most part, but like I said, there's a few things that come up and it still touches that emotional spot in my heart. Also, I've been watching a lot of mukbang videos, so I'm gonna eat my way through this story. So let's go. I'm gonna go ahead and start with these noodles. They're getting soggy. I'd also like to preface this by saying that I come from a Catholic family, culturally Catholic as I like to say. I was also kind of a strict Catholic because I grew up going to church with my grandmother, who was also Catholic, and she was a devout Catholic in her own way. And I also went to a Catholic school, which is where I initially learned about Islam. Watermelon. More watermelon. So, of course, going to a Catholic high school, I had to learn about Catholicism, but we also had religion class to learn about other religions. To this day, I'm very grateful and surprised that we were able to learn, or that we were encouraged to learn about other religions. So we learned about all the Abrahamic religions, of course, as well as other major religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, etc. So something I still remember to this day is opening up the book that we were using to learn about other religions. And I guess we had started learning about Islam. When I opened the book, I saw women wearing different types of hijab. And so the meaning behind hijab that we learned, that meaning really stuck with me, clearly. I always thought, wow, that's such a power move to protect your beauty and to dress modestly for yourself. I even thought, oh, that would be so cool to wear it, but at the same time I was like, that's weird because I'm Catholic and clearly not Muslim. After learning the basics of Islam, I really felt drawn to it, and I really appreciated the logic and the reasoning behind a lot of the basics. I thought it just made sense. And I was really confused as to why we weren't all just taking notes about this religion and incorporating it into Catholicism and things like that. More watermelon. Even though I was definitely interested, I wasn't thinking about converting at all. Not a thought in my mind. And eventually I went to college, and it was quite a liberal college, and I met such a diverse array of people. Watermelon. So I met a diverse array of people, and that included Muslims. I actually went out of my way to make a Muslim friend, and I thought she was so elegant and so kind and really someone I wanted to be like. I always envisioned myself as like this elegant, like well-spoken person, and she embodied that. Hummus. It's a little stale. However, this was also the time that I began to realize that I wasn't actually Catholic. And for someone like me, who was so deeply rooted in that, I felt I felt so guilty and I started to grow like increasingly confused. Astaghfirullah. It got to the point where I was thinking I was atheist, even though I never really stopped believing in God. However, it did start to feel like I was forcing myself to go to church, so I just stopped doing that. I tried to join Catholic student groups, Protestant student groups, but nothing resonated with me. But deep down, I knew what I really wanted was to have that connection with God again. However, I found myself looking for validation and purpose in the opinions of others. I was being told how a woman in this society is supposed to talk and dress and act, and really, I didn't necessarily agree with all of it. And at the end of each day, I would find myself asking, why am I doing all of this? I know it's temporary and I know it's not bringing me happiness, so why am I doing it? I'm like completely unsatisfied, and I'm taking the advice from other people who actually aren't very satisfied with their lives either. So once I attained all of these things that were supposed to make me happy, I realized something. I wasn't happy. Time for cookies. I got this big old cup from New York, if you can't tell. And it was actually supposed to be a gift, but clearly they didn't want my gift. So as I'm learning about Islam and finding the beauty in it, I'm also losing my faith at the same time. So everything is losing meaning, and I'm thinking, what is the point of all this? What is the point? So eventually, I start grad school. And grad school in itself is pretty stressful. But in addition to that, during the first semester, I was going through a very difficult situation. It got to the point where I thought I was sick or something. I thought I had a serious health issue because of how emotionally drained I was. And no one knew what I was going through because I didn't want them to know. And by winter break, I ended up in a situation where I was completely alone for 2 weeks. And all of my friends, all of my family, they were away from me at the time. I literally had nothing but time. And in that time, I was thinking a lot. I thought about how angry I was and how broken I felt and how tired I was of just feeling sad all the time. I wanted to feel at peace. I wanted to stop chasing these temporary things that I didn't even believe in. During this time, I'm watching video after video about Islamic topics. And eventually I realized I was watching a hijab tutorial and like looking for hijabs to buy. More cookies. And I stopped to myself and I said, wait a second, hold up. This is exactly where I have been headed my whole life. And in that moment, I felt a peace that I had never felt before in my entire life. I felt so light and so stress-free. Every answer that I had needed was right there in front of me. So soon after that, I started making friends that were Muslim, and eventually I went on to do my Shahada. It was the absolute best decision that I ever made. I wouldn't change it for anything. I've been Muslim for 3 years now, about 3 years officially. I'm still at peace, and even when I'm not super happy or I'm having a hard time, I still feel peace. When I look back at all of the little signs that were there, I realized that I was being guided to Islam and that innate gravitation I had to it, and just certain beliefs that I've always had ever since I was little. At the end of every prayer when I was little, I would end it with, and please, like, guide me on the right path, the straight path to you, to God. And so when I was learning how to pray properly, I realized that that was a part of the prayer, and that shook my entire world, because this was something that I had been saying practically my whole life, and here I am using it again to pray properly. So, before I start crying, that's my story. SubhanAllah, truly there is a plan for us all. I hope that we are all guided to the right path and that we stay on it and we're guided to do what's right. So that's it. I'm full. And until next time, salam friends.